message is for everybody who wears the uniform, get ready. The United States will do what it takes to win this war.
George W. Bush prepares for battle. The grim search through New York's mountain of rubble continues.
Saturday Reports with Ben Chin.
Good evening. U.S. President George Bush beat the drums of war even louder today. A war like no other in the aftermath of a terrorist attack like no other. The number of people missing beneath the rubble of the World Trade Center rose today. 255 people added to a list of almost 5,000. Tonight, our coverage begins with Sasha Petrusik in Washington and Bush's words of war. Sasha.
Ben, George Bush has been talking tough for several days now, but today his message was the strongest yet. It came at the end of a meeting of the U.S. cabinet at Camp David, and it was blunt.
We're at war. There's been an act of war declared upon America by terrorists. And my message is for everybody who wears the uniform, get ready. The United States will do what it takes to win this war.
For those who wear the uniform, the attack did hit very close to home. A military cameraman caught this scene shortly after the plane hit the Pentagon. There is thick black smoke, fire, then a warning for rescuers to step back. After the smoke cleared, this is the wreckage that remained, unstable and smoldering for days later.
This is on the first floor. This is very close to where the airplane went into.
At a briefing today, officials showed videotape shot inside by the U.S. military. The most dramatic images yet of the devastation brought right into victims' offices. Blasting walls, melting phones and filing cabinets, leaving scorched clothes hangers and enough structural damage to keep reconstruction crews busy for years.
So let's bring a line up in here.
It also left at least 190 people dead. About a third of them were passengers on the hijacked plane, the rest inside the Pentagon. Ever since this attack, ever since the attack in New York that George Bush toured yesterday, investigators have been working to identify those responsible. Many suspected this man, wealthy Saudi renegade Osama bin Laden. But it wasn't until today that anyone in the U.S. government publicly named him.
There is no question he is what we would call a prime suspect.
Bush vowed to track down bin Laden, his associates, and any government that helps him.
We will smoke them out of their holes. We will get them running, and we'll bring them to justice. We will not only deal with those who dare attack America, we will deal with those who harbor them.
Afghanistan seems the most likely target for U.S. forces, and U.S. diplomats have been working to get international support for any action. They especially need Pakistan's cooperation right next door. They now have a pledge from the Pakistani government.
The Pakistani government, a specific list of things that we would like cooperation on, and they've agreed to all those items.
War has been declared, international agreement has been secured, U.S. military reserves have been called up, 35,000 of them. Still, the White House is trying to keep down any expectations of an immediate military strike. George Bush says this war will be fought over the long term. Ben?
Sasha Petrusik in Washington tonight. Well, these developments won a sharp response today from Afghanistan. It issued a threat of its own to its neighbors, warning them not to help the U.S. in any way. It's a defiant stance that now has many people in Afghanistan bracing for trouble. The CBC's Patrick Brown is our reporter in the region. Today, he traveled to the border outpost of Torkham to get the latest.
A truck lumbers through the frontier gate from Afghanistan to Pakistan. These are unusual days almost everywhere in the world. But in the very place where the next war may break out, it's business as usual. Crowds of people wait for friends and relatives to make it across. The trickle of people leaving Afghanistan may become a flood in the days to come, says local businessman Nasir Halim.
If America go for a take on Afghanistan and on our area in Pakistan, innocent people will die. Who will die? Innocent people. No one.
Are people afraid, worried here?
Yeah. If you look at the border here, people are coming in more numbers. Why? They are fearing. They are feeling fear in Afghanistan.
The government shouldn't allow American or international forces to use Pakistan as a base for attacks on Afghanistan, says Gulun Shah. Afghanistan's Taliban regime, speaking through its ambassador to Pakistan, says neighbors who help the United States may themselves be attacked.
If any neighboring country gave territorial way or airspace to USA against our land, it would draw us into an imposed war.
Pakistan's northwest frontier has never been fully under any government's control. Security is supposed to be tight, but vehicles are waved through checkpoints. The Khyber Pass has seen many armies come and go over the centuries. Cruise missiles aimed at Osama bin Laden flew over here 3 years ago, after he was suspected of bombing American embassies in East Africa. Land forces will be using this road if they're sent to do the job airstrikes couldn't do.
But ground operations represent a major challenge. The Afghans are fond of boasting that they've already defeated 2 superpowers, Great Britain in the 19th century and the Soviet Union in the 1980s. Patrick Brown, CBC News, Torkham.
So as we've mentioned, Pakistan is caught up in the middle of all this, and now that it's lined up behind the U.S., it could be used as a staging ground for a strike into Afghanistan. That's a situation that may end up causing some other problems for the Pakistani government. Joining us now to talk about that, Nazir Islam. He's a professor at the University of Ottawa and is an expert on Pakistan's internal divisions. Professor Islam, first of all, to Pervez Musharraf, the president of Pakistan. What is the dilemma for him in cooperating with the U.S. as he has agreed to do?
I think President Musharraf and all the other important decision makers around him are caught between the devil and the deep sea. Both the options for them are extremely costly. If they are supporting United States or if they had decided not to support United States. The first options, of course, pitches them, if they don't support United States, then Pakistan is pitched against a coalition, a very powerful coalition of international actors, not only United States, but NATO countries, Commonwealth, Canada, and so on. And these are, among them, are countries which have been allies of Pakistan, including United States. And Pakistan perhaps owes something to them. And another important problem would be that if Pakistan doesn't support this coalition, Pakistan will be perhaps branded as a terrorist state, harboring terrorists and abetting and aiding Osama bin Laden and the Taliban.
Professor Islam, there is a lot of sympathy for the Taliban and Afghanistan within Pakistan. How far does that sympathy rise up into the ranks of the Musharraf regime?
I think, in my opinion, the sympathy is much more in the religious sectors, particularly the Sunni and Deobandi, which is a sect of the Sunnis, religious sectors, the madrasas, and some extreme sectors of various religious elements. But as far as the army is concerned, I would think that it would stand united behind President Musharraf.
And so to sum it up, Professor, what would be, how potentially destabilizing could all of this be for Pakistan?
I think these elements that I have just talked about, they do have the power to come out in the streets and make quite a violent protest. They might try and take over some of the cities, particularly in the north. Some of them are very well armed. But I think Pakistani army is a very well-organized force. If the army stands together, if all the corps commanders have supported the decision of President Musharraf, perhaps the army can contain this violence and the potential for destabilizing the government.
Thank you, Professor Nazir Islam. Now to New York and that unbelievable yet now familiar scene, the immense pile of wreckage left by the destruction of the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center. 20,000 tons have been removed, and that's only a tiny fraction of it. Joanna Romeliotis now on the situation at Ground Zero.
Day 5, Ground Zero. There are still mountains to climb.
Oh, forget it. We haven't even scratched the surface. We're taking it out bucket by bucket.
Rescue workers, nearly 1,500 at a time, are still at it, still going nonstop. But there is still no sign of survivors.
Don't want to get too graphic with you. You know, it's going to keep that in the compound over there.
Truckload after truckload of rubble is hauled out of here every day. But the job at hand is still so massive, still so overwhelming, no one is even willing to guess how much longer it will take.
You got 110-story buildings that, that's millions and millions of pounds. Doesn't go away in one day.
Volunteers keep pouring in, but officials say there are too many already.
We ask you to understand that the overwhelming amount of volunteers that have come to New York City and the supplies is creating a logistical challenge for all of us, and it's diverting critical resources away from the rescue efforts that are going on right now.
A desperate search has also become a relentless one. There are nearly 5,000 people reported missing. The remains of fewer than 200 bodies found. But officials believe people may still be alive. They've brought in a new tracking device to pick up pager and cell phone signals.
We're not giving up hope. As long as we believe that we have any other opportunities, including sending signals to these devices, we are going to keep on trying. I mean, these families are not giving up hope, so we're not giving up hope.
It's why this woman drove here from Boston with flowers and a message.
Hope. I heard that a white rose is the sign of hope.
No, 107th floor.
Stories of battered hope have become commonplace. Daryl Johnson's friend was listed alive on a website, but he can't find him. He's called every hospital. Now he's hitting the streets.
We cheered and we cried. We cheered and we cried. So now I do everything on foot now.
No one is left unaffected. Some police officers say they'll post pictures themselves.
Yeah, actually my heart is beating very fast because I feel horrible for them.
That sense of loss is everywhere. Dennis McHale came clutching 30-year-old photos, pictures of himself when he was 19, when he helped build the Twin Towers.
It's heartbreaking. It's surreal. It was a beginning for me, and now to see it ended this way is it's heartbreaking.
Heartbreaking for a whole city, one that seems torn between hope and grief. Joanna Romeliotis, CBC News, New York.
U.S. federal prosecutors in New York have issued a second arrest warrant in the case and expect to issue several more. One man was arrested earlier this week. He's described as a material witness. 25 other people have been arrested for immigration violations and are being questioned about their possible connection to the case. 2 men were arrested in Texas after a disturbance on a train. Police found box-cutting knives in their luggage. The hijackers apparently used similar weapons to seize the 4 planes on Tuesday. In Shanksville, Pennsylvania, searchers have located the cockpit voice recorder from the plane that crashed there. Meanwhile, Wall Street is doing its best to get back into shape for the opening bell on Monday morning. The big stock market staged a test run of their computer and communication systems. They've been shut down since Tuesday. Everything checked out, so it's business as usual next week. Stay with us. We'll be right back after a short break.
Talk about your health. Well, you know about exercise, you gotta sweat, sweat, sweat. And you know about nutrition, you gotta run away from that fat. And our third key is a good night's sleep. Only Simmons Beauty Rest mattresses are constructed with independently responding Contraflex pocket coils. When your partner moves, you don't. You'll have a better night's sleep. Drop the ball here. Your bedroom must be cool and quiet and dark. Simmons Beauty Rest is the bowling ball mattress.
When have you noticed your hair is changing? When you find your first gray hair? When you have your first child? When you feel you have to color your hair? just like skin, your hair changes over time. Inner Science is a hair care system rich in amino acids. It's proven to restore your hair's look of youthful vitality. Inner Science. In just 1 month, we believe you'll see and feel the difference. The science of Inner Science takes years off the look of your hair.
Our Ultimate Club sandwich has arrived. Introducing the Colonel's Classic Club, the only club made with the great taste of KFC's seasoned chicken. But it's only here for a limited time. KFC, it's finger-licking good. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
It's a 30-minute wait. You want to go and come back?
My place?
Yeah. This is a nice place.
Thank you.
I'm really hungry.
Well, then start cooking. You don't want me to cook you dinner.
Maybe they deliver.
I think.
McCain Rising Crust Pizza.
Hey, you smell that?
Smell what?
Oh, the delivery guy here?
New cheeses, new toppings, more sauce.
No need to go back to the restaurant.
McCain Rising Crust Pizza in a new see-through package.
No need to go anywhere, is there?
From Canada's best journalists comes the best international news. CBC reporters located around the globe contribute to Foreign Assignment. Hosted by acclaimed correspondents Joe Schlesinger and Ian Hannamansing. Watch for it Sundays on CBC News World.
Thousands of people were stranded at airports in Canada after Tuesday's attacks. Now airports are crawling back to life here and in the United States. But things are far from being back to normal. Christine Crowther reports.
Pearson International Airport. It's the largest in the country, with the lineups to prove it. But passengers are being patient.
There's a lot worse things going on in the world right now than being in Toronto and eating at your nice restaurants and staying at your nice hotels.
But the congestion here is having ripple effects across the country. Cancelled and delayed flights mean waits for passengers flying out of Edmonton.
What we see over and over again is that, each of the airports is certainly not independent. We're part of a coordinated system, an integrated system, and of course, that is quite complex. So, we're each reliant on each other, each dependent on each other.
London, we will not be checking in quite yet, or Honolulu.
In Vancouver, the parking lot was crammed with overflow passengers from the terminal.
How long it would take, estimation?
I have no idea.
I think this is a great idea. Keep people away from the airport area until they can handle the traffic inside, because trying to put all these people in there right now wouldn't be a good thing.
The waits are expected to get shorter, though, as flights that were diverted to Canadian airports fly out again. The last of 40 flights diverted to Halifax on Tuesday took off this morning.
There was a sense of relief and a sense of accomplishment. It's just been the sole focus for the last how many days. We've just been working 24 hours a day, round the clock.
One of the reasons for the continued delays is the increased security. Authorities are encouraging passengers to show up early and to leave electronic devices at home. Ottawa is considering eventually putting armed security on the planes themselves, but the transport minister says that would be expensive. Despite the security concerns, David Collinet is encouraging people to keep flying.
Airline travel is safe. People should continue to fly. This is the way that people need to get around, and I think we have to get back to normal as quickly as possible.
But that might be easier said than done. The last week has been expensive for the airlines.
We've not put a number to it. It's very clear to us that there will be economic impact, and we're well aware that this is unprecedented in our business and strictly in economic terms, devastating for the airline industry in general.
Today, American carriers Continental and Northwest announced they're going to be cutting back on flights because of the hit they've taken. Christine Crowther, CBC News, Toronto.
Out of the attacks has come a disturbing backlash. Muslims in Canada say they are being assaulted, harassed, and worse. Other religious and ethnic groups say they have also been threatened. Early this morning, fire tore through a Hindu temple in Ontario. The fire gutted most of the building. Police don't know how it started or if it was deliberately set. But they say there is a very real possibility it is tied to Tuesday's attacks. Yesterday, millions of people gathered to share strong emotions of sorrow and grief at public memorial services in dozens of countries. In Canada today, the crowds were smaller, but the emotions were still strong. Diane Duthie has that story.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Morning, sir.
Emergency workers know what it's like to lose a colleague in the line of duty. This morning in Ottawa, police, fire, and medical workers gathered to remember hundreds of men and women like themselves.
It's about us trying to be with the firefighters in New York City. We will be praying for our brothers and sisters, the ones that will not be coming back. We will be praying for them, the ones that have yet to be rescued.
Jamie Jordan is a member of the Ottawa Police Tactical Team. He lost a friend in New York City, a tactical officer who is missing in the rubble of Tower 1.
I hope to get a sense of peace from this and some comfort as well. I think this will be a very valuable service for me.
Over at the American Embassy, a steady stream of people all day long. Offerings of flowers, notes, stuffed animals are all twisted into the metal fence around the building. Megan Richardson brought her 2 young boys.
I felt it was important for the boys to come down and, actually see the memorial that's developing here at the embassy.
The embassy has become a magnet, drawing those who feel the need to place a gift, to shed a tear for thousands they didn't know. Ken and Sharon Martinson drove 80 kilometers to Ottawa today just to see this.
I think it's kind of nice that so many people care. It's just very sad.
In Winnipeg, people signed a book of condolence in the legislature building. Janet Sigurdsson and her daughter Bridget were among them.
People were writing quite long epics in that book. It's sort of nice to see there's some kind of bonding together over this horrible tragedy.
I feel proud that we're Canadians and that we don't have very many problems, but I feel really sad for the Americans, and I sort of worry about it.
And back in Ottawa, more people moved by the tragedies write their thoughts in books in the Hall of Honour in the Parliament buildings. The National Day of Mourning ceremony was held outside these walls yesterday, but there are strong emotions still to be expressed. Diane Duthie, CBC News, Ottawa.
Saturday Report will return after this.
Rain, stop. Traffic, yield. CD, play. Climate control, on.
The Infinity Q45 with voice-activated controls.
Lights, green.
The rest of the world should be so accommodating. The new Q from Infinity.
Not connecting with who you want, when you want? Break free from a world of confining barriers and restrictions. Introducing Anytime Minutes from Sprint Canada. Call 1-800-THE-MOST. Choose either 500 or 1,000 anytime long-distance minutes for a flat rate as low as $30 a month. Free yourself to pay less. Save 50% or more. Free yourself from confining time and day restrictions. Choose when you're going to call, day or night, to anywhere in Canada and the U.S. 500 or 1,000 anytime minutes. As low as $30 a month. Savings of 50% or more. Free yourself to connect.
What took you so long?
Start connecting with Anytime Minutes from Sprint Canada. Call 1-800-THE-MOST today.
Once I have harnessed... Down here, you fool. As I was saying, once I have harnessed the Caribbean sun, I will be unstoppable.
Dude, it's been done. New Sunny D Caribbean Style. A sun-drenched blast of 5 tropical fruit flavors that'll make your taste buds squint.
Once I have harnessed the Caribbean sun, I will be unstoppable.
I'll mix the Caribbean sun. New Caribbean Style.
Experience. Integrity. Commitment. Nancy Wilson joins News World Today. Putting the news into perspective. Weekdays at noon Eastern on CBC News World.
Hi, I'm John Killen from Happy Valley, Goose Bay, Labrador. You're watching CBC News World, Canada's news network.
In the weeks ahead, there will be thousands of funerals. Today in New York, a heartfelt farewell for a man who was an inspiration in a time of terror. Here's Lynn Robson.
It's just a tiny one-engine fire station in Greenwich Village, but its crew paid the ultimate price for going to the World Trade Center. 7 men missing. And since they disappeared, Stephen Nash has been tending the shrine that grew outside the station door.
I want to do something to try and keep their memory alive. And so bringing candles, relighting the ones that have gone out, posting things, for me is a way to kind of connect again.
It was the kind of station where kids were welcome to sit on the engine and firefighters were also friends.
They just have this energy of strong and brave and don't worry, I'm behind you, I'm here to save you, I'm here to protect you. They have that whole energy behind them, and when you see this, it's not there. And I feel very sad that I had to go in such a terrible way.
In this city in shock, the loss of dozens of rescue crews is one of the shocks most deeply felt. There will be many funerals for the lost crews. None will equal this one. There was plenty of pomp, circumstance, and Bill and Hillary Clinton in attendance. Michael Judge was both a priest and a member of the fire department.
Father Michael Judge was one of the most wonderful men in the whole world. He was there for every firefighter and their family.
Judge died on Tuesday. He was delivering the last rites to a firefighter when the priest had a heart attack.
He was talking to God, and he was helping someone. Can you honestly think of a better way to die?
Out of respect, Steve Marty left the ruins to be at Judge's funeral.
Had to come down. He's always been there for us. He's been there at every one of our funerals.
The New York Fire Department lost its chief, deputy chief, chaplain, and between 200 and 300 firefighters. There will be large funerals. There will be small shrines. The firefighters are gone. They will not be forgotten. Lynn Robson, CBC News, New York.
And that's Saturday Report for September the 15th. Please join News World through the night for all the latest developments. I'm Ben Chen. Thank you for watching.
Here comes a good tip. Hi, I'm Phil Mickelson. Everybody can use a good tip. Thanks, Phil. And I give my best tips only in Golf Digest.
Every month, the best teachers and players in the game give you personalized tips on instruction, equipment.
I have a tip.
Everything that you need to lower your score.
Wait, I think I have something to help your backswing. Thank you, No problem. But there's a catch. You've got to read it.
Call now for your risk-free issue. Each issue comes with this handy Pocket Tips pull-out booklet. You'll also get this free instructional video.
Golf Digest is the golf magazine. Easy to follow tips on instruction, information on the top equipment, the best places to play, and commentary, all from the best teachers and players in the game. We're going to make you a better golfer.
And that's a guarantee.
Call now and get your first issue risk-free, including this handy Pocket Tips booklet. If you like it, you'll get 11 more issues for just $29.77. You'll also get this free instructional video.
Call 800-346-3600.
I'm telling you, it's the best tip you'll ever get.
When did the financial revolution begin? Wasn't it yesterday when everything started to change? We were made for this revolution. Today, we are one of the largest financial services companies on earth, working in over 60 countries. Want to manage your money in ways that fit these new times? Remember our name, ING.
This is a huge putt for young Wong. If he sinks this 75-footer, it'll cap the greatest comeback in tournament history. And there's the putt. Oh, this looks drastically wide. Wait, look at the break.
Yes! Wong has done it! What an unbelievable...
So striking. It's distracting. Introducing the redesigned 2002 Camry.
Two airplanes have crashed into the World Trade Center.